Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2018 NBA Talk. I'm Chris Bagdonis.
And I'm Mike Gross.
And in the NBA today, we've got a couple things going on with the conference finals beginning and the Final Four, but also the NBA draft lottery is tonight. The 15 hopeful teams can hopefully get a good pick and hopefully get a good young player to add to their roster. And I guess kind of touching on the Knicks and the Nets. The Nets, of course, they do not have their first-round pick after the magic of Billy King sending it away to the Boston Celtics in that infamous trade for Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce.
And, I mean, do the Celtics really even need it right now?
Oh, no. I mean, of course not. It's not. They don't even have it. They sent it over to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, you're right.
And that's why Kyrie Irving is now a Celtic, even though he has not been on the floor yet for a while.
I mean, why don't you want to cut the chase right to the draft lottery?
Yeah.
And Phoenix Suns likely spot number one in the draft lottery. They have a 25% chance of getting the number one pick. And top spot for them, first pick, looking like DeAndre Ayton, center from Arizona.
I think obviously not having to travel too far, but he would be a dynamic duo. Him and Devin Booker, the pick and roll, the pick and pop, like any way you like it. I think those two can wreak some havoc because they're both good shooters. Ayton doesn't get too much credit for his outside shot, but of course we all know Devin Booker. He's one of the next big things in the NBA today.
Definitely, and him on the uprising. He's rising up, and Alex Len entering unrestricted free agency, and now Tyson Chandler nearing the end of his career. He's had a great career with the Mavericks and with the Knicks.
A champion.
And I think they definitely need the center, the Phoenix Suns, to get some fresh legs on the team and maybe some new basketball IQ, you know?
Definitely. I think that would really help out. And I guess moving on to number 2, we have Memphis Grizzlies. They're likely to have the second overall pick after tonight. And their number 1 option is likely to be the Real Madrid Croatian star, Luka Doncic. That guard coming from Spain has definitely shown a lot of potential and has turned a lot of heads. And I think if they can re-sign Tyreke Evans and pick up Luka Doncic, I think that the Grizzlies can definitely be a much improved team over last year. Of course, we all know Marc Gasol had some problems with David Fizdale, who is now the Knicks head coach, but I think he definitely still has one or two more good seasons left in him, as well as Mike Conley. He was given a big contract last year. I think he can play value to it, being a quality point guard in the NBA. And, of course, Tyreke Evans, obviously the likes of Clint Capella and Victor Oladipo might be the most improved player, but I think Tyreke Evans, a 20-point scorer in the NBA, is hard to come by these days.
He's definitely out there, and he's such a team player, and he likes to feed the ball, but he'll also go up and get his shots, and he works great in my opinion with Mike Conley, and Mike Conley is definitely an all-star snub.
Definitely,
he got completely snubbed. He is, in my opinion, one of the better guards in the league. Right there behind Russell Westbrook and Steph Curry and Kyrie, in my opinion.
And it's a bold take, but I can't argue with that. He's quietly done his job for the Memphis Grizzlies, and he's a quality. He can score, he can assist. He's coming off a 20-point per game season, even though he was injured last year. But another problem with these Grizzlies, or actually, I think we've talked enough about that.
Yes.
So I think that now the number 3 spot is likely going to the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously, the likes of Dirk Nowitzki and company, not in the best place, but of course, Dennis Smith Jr., a man that could have been playing in the bright lights of New York City, but the stupidity of Phil Jackson has let him go take his star power to Dallas. But I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is likely the spot for him, or Dallas is the spot for him. I think the big, of course, Dirk playing the 4 and Jaren Jackson playing the 5. And, of course, the likes of Harrison Barnes and Dennis Smith Jr., I think they would make for a really good team.
Well, yeah, I agree. But, Dirk now turning 40, and he's going to return for one last season. I saw him, actually, this season play in Brooklyn, and he just did not look good, Chris. I mean, it's not even running up the court anymore, up and down the court. It's hobbling. And I don't know if he can even finish out this last year. I mean, he's definitely gonna be able to do his farewell tour, kind of like Kobe.
Yeah.
But such an influential player, now we have to go to this younging, pretty much half his age, and Jaren Jackson, the center from Michigan State. Definitely need that center, and in my opinion, it's going to be Jackson at the 5 and Harrison Barnes at the 4.
Really?
Yeah, and Dennis Smith Jr. still going to do his stuff. He was really good this season.
He was,
Chris, and he doesn't get enough credit because the Mavericks didn't win many games. And I think that Jaren Jackson Jr. can make a huge difference coming right out of Michigan State.
Yeah. So I guess that's enough. Of course, we've touched over the top 3 in the draft. But now, of course, the playoffs are still ongoing, and the conference finals are in full swing, of course. The Boston Celtics really beat up on LeBron James and the Cavs, 108-83. This is one of LeBron's worst ever postseason Game 1 losses in his career. But, of course, as is custom, after having a stinker like this, LeBron usually comes back and blows everyone away.
Oh, definitely. I mean, only putting up, what is it, 35 points in the first half for the Cavaliers, and it's absolutely atrocious, the type of basketball that they played. And, they didn't really get a whole ton. LeBron did not really get a whole ton of help.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Love in 31 minutes and 17 points, and he had more points than LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron had 15.
I mean, George Hill and Larry Nance Jr., like, they're just I enjoyed, watching these new players, these young players come into the Cavaliers, and LeBron almost mentoring them. But it doesn't work halfway through the season, in my opinion. I think this team can definitely be a title contender next year, but with all this pressure on the youngins right now, it just can't. I don't think it just meshes well.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing to talk about in this series, Marcus Morris standing up to his talk, saying, "I'm the best guarder of LeBron," or he can guard LeBron almost as well as Kawhi Leonard can. He says he's the second best in the league at guarding LeBron, and obviously 15 points, a bad shooting night for LeBron. It looks like he's backed up that talk well, but I think it'll be really interesting to see how Game 2 is tonight in Boston. See if the Cavs can get the road split, or they'll be facing a 2-0 hole going back to the land.
And I definitely agree. Al Horford coming in big for the Celtics. He's going to do a lot of work tonight on Kevin Love, and it's interesting to see how he scored 20 points 2 nights ago, but will he come back tonight and do the same, score 20 plus points or even close to it? And he didn't get very many rebounds. Marcus Morris actually had a double-double. He had 10 rebounds, but Al Horford with the assists too. I mean, he's an all-around player.
He is. He's a team player. I think he's a very valuable asset to have down the stretch because he's just a proven veteran. And of course, the Western Conference Finals were Game 1 out of H-Town yesterday, but it did not go too well for the Houston Rockets as they fell 119-106 at the hands of the Golden State Warriors, who really rode a big second half, outscoring the Rockets by a total of 13 points because it was a 56-56 game going into halftime.
Now, the Rockets only lost 7 games at home, and this is definitely one game that they want back, in my opinion. And it was pretty close all game, and I think it was tied at halftime, and the Rockets kind of fell apart there in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And I mean you can't say they didn't do well. I mean, Chris Paul had 23 points, James Harden 41 points.
Oh my goodness.
Definitely great matchups between the Warriors and the Rockets, but that big three of Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant, it's just absolutely electric down there in H-Town.
Yeah, definitely. They're, combining for 83 points. Like, that's just unseen. And of course, Steph Curry had a little bit of an off night. Only 18 points, but 8 of 15 shooting, still showing he's got his efficiency. But the main man, it was Kevin Durant for the Warriors. Even though he was not the highest scorer of the game, he led the Warriors with 37 points, as well as 3 rebounds and only 1 assist. But obviously, it's pick your poison with the Warriors. They have 3 generational players, as well as Draymond Green getting into some foul trouble, always causing controversy with, is there a bias against him by the referees? Of course, 67 seconds into the game, he gave James Harden a little throat punch that only gave him a technical, where some thought he should have been thrown out completely. But obviously, it shows that it's going to be a really fun series and it's going to be a battle.
I agree, but I think Zaza Pachulia didn't play last night, but I think four players did not play last night, and it's interesting to watch Steve Kerr only play 9 of his players and pretty much 8 because David West only played 4 minutes, and it's obviously efficient for the Warriors, and I feel that they get it done. They get it done every year, and over the past 4 years or so, they've been the team to beat in the NBA, not just the Western Conference, in the NBA.
Definitely. And then, of course, speaking of James Harden's 41-point effort, he is the odds-on favorite to win the MVP this season. And, I mean, I don't think anyone can dispute what he's done for the Houston Rockets. Obviously, anyone dethroning the Warriors, it would be a tough task this season. But, of course, James Harden, with Chris Paul by his side, they both obviously were the best team in the NBA in terms of regular season records. And now, even though they're on the back foot against the Warriors, I think what he's done this season is electric. Being a 30-point per game scorer, winning the scoring title, I think he just stands out in this league today. In a 3-point dominant league, I think James Harden just has taken everyone by the scruff of the neck and said, "This is my game, and I'm going to play you."
And you should really talk about how he incorporates the rest of his team. And I know it's a tough comparison, the Bull comparison, but you could compare him to Michael Jordan and how he gets everybody involved. He had almost 9 assists per game. It's absolutely incredible the way he incorporates his team and feeds them the ball. Clint Capella, huge, absolutely huge. That's part of the reason why he is definitely in the running for most improved player. And James Harden has just fed him the ball constantly along with Chris Paul and Trevor Ariza doing big numbers this season. And I just think James Harden is the MVP.
Yeah, no questions asked. Of course, LeBron James is doing his thing, being, like Russell Westbrook almost. Russell Westbrook did average another triple-double this season, which is impressive by all means. No one's ever done that, or maybe I think it was Oscar Robertson who might have done that almost 50 years ago. But LeBron James, he's still an incredible player. He's still, even though James Harden's the MVP, I still think LeBron James is the best player in basketball.
I have to agree with you there,
yeah,
Mr. Bagdonis.
Yeah. So I think that might have to do it. We touched on a lot today. It's going to be an exciting offseason, an exciting rest of the playoffs. So signing off today, I'm Chris Bagdonis.
And I'm Mike Gross, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you.